Hi, class. Brother Calder here. I just wanted to take a few moments to go through Project 2 with you. There's a lot of moving parts to this, and I just want to make sure that you're up to date and understanding what's required and when it's required, etc. Before I get into that, I just want to make a comment about this week, one of this week's assignments, which is the Vans case. Please note that that case is worth 20 points. Often these things are worth only 10. But this one's worth 20. I'm going to grade it as if it's worth 20. So make sure that you put the appropriate time and effort into it. If I get something back with just one paragraph, then it's probably not going to earn you a very good grade. But put some thought into it. Have several, paragraphs, etc. You'll be fine on it. Okay, so the second project is coming up. It's going to be due on November 18th. That's a Saturday, and it's due by 11 p.m. So let me just take you through the steps of that. First, you're going to need a Qualtrics expert, somebody that can get familiar with Qualtrics and be able to get into the piece and understand how it works. There is in the assignment a tip sheet, and if you'll refer to my announcement that I put out on Friday this past week. It has a lot of attachments at the back of it, or at the bottom of the announcement. One of those is this Qualtrics worksheet. Just make sure you kind of go through there and get an understanding of it. I've also attached a video from one of our other instructors that teaches this same course. It's a different section, but teaches the same course. Todd Schroeder. He's a friend of mine, lives up in North Ogden, and he's the VP of marketing for a credit union up in that area. And he uses Qualtrics quite a bit for his work, and he's put together a nice brief video on how to load your questions and what kinds of things you can do with it. So I would highly recommend that you take a look at that. So number one, get a Qualtrics expert. Whoever that expert is, let me know. This is something that is going to take a little bit more time, and I think it's worth some more points. So for each of you that does the Qualtrics stuff, I'm going to add 5 points to your score. So let me know who that is. So that's number one. Number two, finish your survey. You'll want to turn in your survey questions that you're putting together to me by Wednesday, November 8th, because I want to take a look at them and be able to offer you some feedback on those. So please make sure you get those to me and we can take a look at that. Let me just scroll here. So here's just a refresher for you. In week 7, lesson 7, if you go back to the Start Here page and scroll down, what you're going to find is, let me just pull this up for you so you can see it. Down the page, you're going to see Project 2 preparation, and right in there is this sample questionnaire. If you click on that, that's going to give you ideas of how to set up your questionnaire and what you want to do. The key to this is making it so that it's fairly short. Your respondent should be able to answer this in probably 10 to 15 minutes. If it's longer than that, that's going to be pretty daunting. If you see from this survey, it's only 14 questions long, and that's probably within the mark. Somewhere between 15 and, say, 20 or so questions. They're going to be pretty easy for them to fill out and get back to you. It probably wouldn't take them more than, say, 5 minutes to do, and that's really kind of what you're looking for on the questionnaire so that you make sure you can do it. So that's the second part. Finish your questionnaire, get it to me by November 8th so I can take a look at it, and then I'm going to turn it right back around to you. Now, the way to do that is there's a submission form for you to do it, but really what you probably want to do is just email it to me. If you email it, then I will get it the quickest, and I'll be able to turn it around to you the quickest. And only one of your group needs to send it to me. I don't need it from everybody, obviously, but just one, and I'll turn around and get that to you. That leads us to the third step, which is to request approval. You're going to do this through Dr. Sid Palmer's office, and I have put in on that announcement that I put out on Friday how to contact him. But you're going to fill out an approval form to do that. There is a sample approval form there. Whenever we do projects that require human use, which this is one, Dr. Palmer's or Brother Palmer's office has to approve that. So this will give you a sample of what you need to fill out and how you do that. It's very self-explanatory, but once you have that done, I'm going to take you to the bottom of this survey here, or this form, just to point something out. It really shouldn't take you very long to put it in here. You will need to have your completed surveys to do it. But you'll notice here it says, if you've requested a sample, please allow 2 to 3 business days for processing. I'm going to point out just allow 2 days. In my previous announcement, we've got 9 sections that are teaching this marketing course this semester. Each class has about 6 groups. We're all doing this project at the same time, which means his office is going to get inundated. So the earlier you get on this, the earlier you can get that back. And just know that it's going to be 2 to 3 days before you hear back from them. But if you haven't heard back in 2, I'd contact them and see if you can't kind of push that along a little bit. So that's the third thing, is you're going to get that approval from Dr. Palmer's office. Number 4 is that you want to receive that approval. Once you have that approval back, you will receive from him. And oh, by the way, in here the questionnaire asks, or the form asks how many people you want to send that to. You're gonna push this button right here, 300. We want at least 300, because that just means that you'll get 300 emails, and the more emails you have, the more likelihood you're going to get enough surveys back. We're shooting for 50, and that's what we'd like to get. When you get the approval from Dr. Palmer's office, he's going to be sending you an email saying that it's approved, and along with that will be the 300 email addresses. That should give you about a day or so to turn that around and get that out. What you want to do is put a cover email with it that says, hey, help us out here. I find humor works well, begging will work well, whatever, to try to get those responses. But ideally, you would get that email survey out no later than Saturday, November 11th. That'll give you roughly a week to get the stuff back. That following Wednesday, you want to make sure that you send another nudge email to those survey respondents that you sent out the email to remind them to fill out that survey and get it back to you. And then that'll give you a few days to put it together. So that's the process. The due date, again, is November 18th. Finally, I just want to take you through a sample here and just kind of run through this. In Project 1, I included an example project of Netflix, and so I'm going to carry that thing through. This is a Project 2, also with Netflix. You'll see as we go through, it's pretty well organized and looks good. The format looks great, and so I would follow this same format. There's a table of contents that's in here. You're going to provide a little bit of a service background, just meaning, what's the background of this company or this product that you're doing. You're going to talk a little bit about sample methodology, and then executive summary. Let me just take another moment here on executive summary. The executive summary should include the findings of what you found in your research. Don't just say, hey, we're going to have a quantitative section, and we're going to have this section on positioning, we're going to have this section on this. I know what you're going to have in the report. I can see that from the table of contents. What you want in the executive summary is to put together what your findings are, a summary of your findings. In your career, you'll find that executives are busy, and when they want to get right to the bottom line, the executive summary gives them that Reader's Digest version of what they should find in the report. We'll look at the rest of the detail later, but we want to know what your findings are right off the bat. So make sure you do that with your executive summary. And then after that, you're going to go through the rest of it. This matches up pretty closely with the rubric. So you're going to have classification section, differentiation section. You'll have some paragraphs on possible line extensions for your product. This should be giving you some ideas of what you want to do and how you would expand your product line. You'll talk about quality. You'll talk about the distribution. And then you'll continue to follow that up with the retail section that's in there. And then let me get down here to the appendix. The appendix is where all your charts are going to go. And let me just point out. So on here, we've got your and this happens to be what the gender is, but you've got your chart that's listed, and then underneath each one of those is a summary of why you included this question, and it's to help us get to what you're trying to find. What you want to do is make sure that each question you have in your questionnaire has a point and a purpose to it, so that it'll give you the kind of information that you're looking for as you lead into your third project, which is kind of tying it all together and recommending the messaging, the positioning, and the target. And that's what you're really looking for in this quantitative survey that you're doing. So hopefully that was helpful to you. If there's questions on this, please make sure you get in contact with me. I do want to point out on this appendix, not only do you have the questions with all of the data that's in here, at the very end of this, make sure you're including the raw questionnaire that needs to be included so that I can see what's there. So you want to make sure, I'm going to look at this pretty closely, so make sure that your write-up is supported by the data that you found in this. So with that, again, if there's any questions or concerns, let me know, and we'll go from that. Good luck.